Hey there, welcome to Watch Recap, and today, I'm going to recap a horror, fantasy movie called Tumbbad. Okay, so let's start. The movie begins with the narrator explaining how this universe is the goddess of fulfillment, and Earth is the womb from which she gave birth to everything, the gods, the humans, and the other creatures. She provides her kids with food and money. She loved her first son the most, named Hastar. Hastar was greedy and he stole the money from the goddess, but when he tried to steal the food, other gods stopped him and tried to kill him. They made him shatter into billions of atoms. The goddess saved him from dying, but on a condition that no one will remember his name and he will always be hungry and will fear his food. Then after millions of centuries, people of Tumbbad village made a temple of Hastar because the curse of Hastar is a blessing for the people. In 1918, a woman goes to the temple of Hastar in Tumbbad village and asks her dying husband if he would give her the gold coin, to which he says, "It's not a joke, and it's hard to earn a gold coin." At her home, her two sons Vinayak Rao and Sadashiva tries to feed their grandmother in absence of their mother and were very scared doing that. Then, their mother comes and feeds their grandmother herself. In the next scene, I was shown that the mother is cutting the nails of grandma, and we see that grandma's body is entirely decayed and monstrous, and is tied in her room with heavy metal chains. During the midnight, the grandma wakes up, and tries to break her chains, so the mother goes closer to her and says, "Go to sleep or Hastar will come." Then grandma falls asleep. The next morning, the woman's husband died, and was cremated by the locals because her wife and kids were not allowed to enter the village. The mother then takes the gold coin with her and decides to leave the village with her sons, because she is afraid of the secrets of the temple of Hastar. Vinayak argues with her mother that why they're leaving now, they should instead find the treasure of Hastar inside the temple. Getting angry, her mother says that they will leave the village in the morning and will never look back. While climbing on the top of an old tree, Sadashiv slips off and falls on a rock. Her mother then takes him to the village doctor, but he dies on the way. She then goes to graveyard to bury his body. Meanwhile, Vinayak tries to feed her grandmother, but got into trouble when his grandma tried to eat him. He then shouts, "Go to sleep or Hastar will come." Then she falls asleep in a second. Vinayak with her mother then finally leaves the village. On their way, her mother wants Vinayak to promise her that he will never look back to this village. He promised her so. 15 years later, Vinayak Rao returned to Tumbbad to find the treasure of Hastar. He went to his old house where he find his grandma, but she is now completely decayed and a tree has grown out of her body. She asks Vinayak to free her from her sufferings by burning her body. Vinayak in exchange asks her about the secrets of the temple of Hastar and where can he find the treasure. Then he pours gasoline and ignites her body. With the information he got, he went to the temple of Hastar in search of the treasure. He tried to find the treasure and he finally found it. Then he returns to his home in Pune, where he tells his wife that he will be rich and will give her whatever she wants, will treat her like a queen and will live like a king himself. He then meets Raghav, and tells him that he have a gold coin to sell. Raghav gave him money for his coin. From there on, Vinayak started exchanging gold coins with money, and Raghav used to wonder from where Vinayak is getting all that coins, but he never told him the truth, that it's all the treasure of Hastar he found from the temple. In no time, Vinayak became the richest man of his town, and now he lives a life most would only imagine. Still, nobody knows how he became rich so fast. But then, Raghav faces some financial issues, and instead of asking for help from Vinayak, he tries to find the secret by which Vinayak makes so much money, so he follows Vinayak secretly to his way into the temple of Hastar. But Vinayak realized that Raghav is there, so he tricks him into getting into the cave of the temple. Inside the cave, Raghav was brutally attacked by a monster. When Vinayak enters the cave and sees his friend dying from pain, he feels guilty of doing this to him, but there was no other choice to keep all of this a secret. He then makes a circular boundary of wheat around himself because the monster would not cross this boundary. He then takes out a doll made of wheat. It was then revealed that the red monster who killed Raghav is actually the god Hastar. And the cave is actually inside of the womb of the goddess. Hastar tries to get the wheat doll, but Vinayak plays with him. Then, he throws the doll at a distance, and when Hastar starts to eat the doll, he tears off the pocket full of gold coins on Hastar's back. He collects some of the coins and then starts to escape. While leaving, he burns his friend's body to end his suffering, because whoever gets attacked by Hastar will never die and would stay hungry forever. Vinayak then escapes out of the cave. Hastar tries to catch him, but fails. After 14 years, when India got independent, Vinayak is now old and weak and is not so fast to get enough coins out of the cave in time, so he starts to train his son Pandurang for this work at home. And finally, he takes his son to Tumbbad village to try it for the first time. But for the safety of his kid, he refuses to take the doll with him inside the cave, because when there is no doll, Hastar would not come out. But Pandurang, being oversmart, brings a doll inside the cave, and then was attacked by Hastar. Vinayak saves him, and then Pandurang collects the coins from Hastar's back pocket, and they both escape. His father gets mad at him for not obeying him and bringing a doll inside the cave. He apologizes for that, and then they both went to home. Indian government takes control over the land of Tumbbad and will soon close the temple. So Vinayak and his son comes up with a new plan inspired by their greed for money. They take many wheat dolls with them to Tumbbad, thinking they will steal the pocket of Hastar, not just some coins of it. When Hastar eats one, they will throw another doll, giving them enough time for stealing Hastar's back pocket, which produces gold coins. In the climax, Vinayak takes out 2 dolls and Hastar comes out, but as soon as Hastar notices the second doll, he multiplies. And now there are 2 Hastars. While Vinayak was shocked by this, Panduranga takes out all other dolls, and soon there are many Hastars. Panduranga throws dolls at them and they starts to fight for the dolls. This scene reflects the never-ending human wants. The greedy nature of human mind always wants more and will never get rid of its hunger. Hastars trying to attack them are being stopped by just the circular boundary of wheat. Then finally, Vinayak, as a father who wants to protect his son, decides to tie all the dolls on his body and escapes out of the cave. Chasing him, all the Hastars got killed by another boundary made around the cave mouth. His son then safely gets out. Panduranga sees his father crawling on the floor. His body is decaying and he starts to look like a monster. Panduranga cries looking at his father, but his father tries to give him the coins he collected while being attacked by Hastar. He then, to free his father from the suffering, throws the lantern at him and burns him. Panduranga cries as his father turns into ashes. This is where the movie ends. Subscribe to the channel if you love movies, like and share the video, we appreciate it. See you again.